Hey, everybody, in today's episode, it's myself, Benjamin B., and Destiny. Hey, look, we're talking all about treatment. I had an interesting conversation over the weekend with a mom that has lost complete faith in the treatment process, which sparked a lot of conversation for us. And we've worked in the treatment space for quite some time. So we wanted to come on and record an episode and talk all about treatment and why family members and loved ones oftentimes lose faith and trust in the treatment process. But before we get into the episode, I want to talk about today's sponsor, SoberLink. SoberLink is a company that we partnered with, and they are absolutely phenomenal because we're talking about treatment today. SoberLink is going to be a good tool for you to utilize after you complete the treatment process. Maybe you're transitioning back home, you're going back to work, you're going back to your kids, your wife, your husband, whatever the case is. SoberLink is something that you should definitely consider. Now, what is this? It is a portable breathalyzer device. Now, a few features that makes it really cool. Number one, it's tamper-proof. You can't mess with it, okay? Number two, it has facial recognition, so I can't just pass the device off to Destiny or Ben and say, hey, will you blow in this thing for me? It doesn't work that way because of the facial recognition. Also, you could set it up scheduled times when you want to breathalyze. You can do morning, lunchtime, dinner time, generally 2-3 times throughout the day is what you want to do. Now, it's not designed to catch you in a relapse. It's not. It is just designed to give you more accountability, and you can set up to where your results go to a sober support. Maybe they go to a therapist. Maybe they go to a trusted loved one. Whatever the case is, you set all that up. It's a great tool to have. We oftentimes talk about having tools in your toolbox when it comes to staying sober. SoberLink is definitely something that you should look into. Now, SoberLink is gracious enough to give us a coupon code. So if you go to realrecoverytalk.com, no, I that's a mistake. Soberlink.com/RRT. Again, it's soberlink.com/RRT. You'll get 50% off of your first device. So again, it's soberlink.com/RRT. On to the show. Enjoy this episode.
Can you do that Looney Tunes That's All Folks thing?
That's all, folks. Here we are, Real Recovery Talk. I'm your host, Tom Conrad. In today's episode, we've got Benjamin B.
What's happening, everyone?
And we've got Destiny.
What's up, guys?
First things first, thank you for tuning in on the podcast app, whichever one that you choose to use, and thank you for watching on YouTube. In the end, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you could always reach us, info@realrecoverytalk.com. Again, that's info@realrecoverytalk.com, and ultimately, we want to help you turn your mess into your message, right, peeps?
That's right.
That's right.
How you doing, D-Dog? What do you got there, some ghost?
Peaches. Just found this one yesterday.
All right, trivia.
Okay.
Who sings this song? Millions of peaches, peaches for me. Millions of peaches, hey, peaches for free.
She's too young.
She is too young.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Presidents of the United States of America.
Yep.
She's looking at me.
I'm
Is that
so
real?
confused. Yeah, is that a thing?
Yeah.
That's literally the name of a band. The Presidents of the United States.
I think that was like their only song.
I was like, I think I missed that in history class. I don't remember that.
Peaches come from a can.
Oh,
they
yeah.
were put there by a man in a factory downtown. Did I just nail it?
Yeah, you did. I didn't know that part. But anyways, here we are. It's Monday morning. We're back. This episode is going out.
Oh, wait a minute. Today is a very special day because it is Ben and Tom's 63rd birthday. Happy birthday, guys. I mean, 63 never looked so good. I'm serious.
Yeah, well, shout out to Caldera Labs. Caldera is the face cream that I use.
Okay.
Yeah, so Caldera, shout out to you. You've made my face look so good.
As Ben's playing with his wrinkle.
As Ben.
Maya's supposed to take me to get Botox.
As Ben,
I
he's
think she said on the
literally
12th.
sitting there squeezing his wrinkles.
Are you going to get Botox?
As you're talking
Maya
about.
invited me.
I'm going.
I've tried. I would love for both of, like, this could be a group thing.
All right. We got to roll here. First off, we're not 63. We're both 41. Okay. So, and that's the truth. That is the truth. We're 41 years old. I also do use Caldera. I love Caldera. Have you tried Caldera?
I do. I only bought the one though, like the base one.
Yeah, it comes in the jar.
I'm just very inconsistent with it.
Oh, you got to be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, or else you won't ever look like I do. Yeah. Screw you, Destiny. All
I
right.
didn't say anything.
All seriousness.
Yep.
I had an interesting conversation this weekend with a mom, and she's going to remain left unnamed because she is listening to the podcast, and this conversation really got me thinking. And I didn't get frustrated with her at all. Sweetest lady. I was talking to her in regards to her son, and her son is obviously struggling with methadone. He's on methadone. He's been on methadone for quite some time. He's on a fairly large amount. She didn't know exactly how much, but throughout this conversation, she's older. I think she's in her 70s, and her husband is in his high 70s, early 80s. And the son lives with them. He's, I believe, 42. He's been in and out of treatment multiple times. The latest being around 3 years ago. And in the beginning of the conversation, we were speaking, and I could hear it in her voice that they just completely lost faith and they lost trust in the treatment process, in particular, treatment centers in general, because he had been to so many of them. They're like, thank you because I was talking to her just in regards to like, hey, we want to be a resource for you in any capacity. Treatment is an option if that's something that you would like to discuss. And she wasn't really having it in the beginning. And I could just hear in her voice that it was like, he's been to so many of them. Like, honestly, this is a waste of a conversation. Now, I could have just said, okay, well, see you later. I didn't do that. I continued to talk to her and shared a little bit about my story, Ben, your story too. Sent her some podcasts, sent her the one that we did with Mind Pump, because that's how she found us, was from Mind Pump. And just through having conversation with her, she started becoming more, open with me. And I could hear the frustration in her voice and the sadness and the anger. And I was asking her some very open-ended questions. And I said, what happens? I said, look, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. You know this. And I said, I hate to sound morbid, but you guys are going to pass away. What happens to your son when you pass away? And she's like, I don't know. That's one of the things that they struggle with the most. And so anyways, that prompted this conversation today. Why family members and loved ones lose faith in the treatment process. And I don't know that we've ever discussed this. So we do have some points of discussion that we think are good. But before we even get into that, let me know your guys' thoughts.
Ooh, I'll jump right in. I think the word frustrated, because you use that, and then you kind of recant it a little. I'm right with you with the frustration. And again, not towards the families, not towards the addicts and alcoholics. But my frustration comes with like, dude, it's sad when the system has let people down, because not all treatments are created equal, and I'd like to know the details on this one in particular. You brought up methadone. Anyone that knows my story knows I have a significant history with methadone. And I'll tell you right now, that was the most physically addictive drug I've ever been on in my entire life. If anything physically brought me to my knees, it was methadone. But with that being said, I'm interested too, like in the details of this story. Like, were those treatment centers? When did he get on methadone? Was methadone part of the treatment process? Like what did this actually look like? And I get frustrated because I know what treatment can be. And some people just haven't had that experience. We see that here all the time at Rock. I mean, how many of our clients in the last 2 weeks have come to us? And Destiny, you've been standing there multiple times. A lot of times for some reason this comes up when we're working out in the gym. But our clients come up to us all the time and they're like, we have been to other treatment centers. We've never experienced anything like this on a therapeutic level, a clinical level, just feeling like family.
Yeah.
Because it's all about connection. So I get frustrated. And it's not the family's fault that this has been their experience. But I can't blame them for wanting to throw the towel in, oh, what's the use? But they don't know that something different exists.
Yeah. No, they don't. And Destiny, chime in after this. I'll speak to that real quick. What most family members do in the treatment process, or at least researching for treatment, and I've talked about this before, they just jump on Google, right? If we are looking for some form of service, whatever that is, we get on Google. Hey, I'm looking for blah, 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 blah. Somebody to fix my air conditioner, right? And then it's human nature to just go to the first few, right? Some people are smart enough to know who's running paid ads. And then maybe, I don't click on any of the paid ad ones. I go maybe a few down, right? But I'm generally clicking on one of the first 5 that pop up. And treatment centers have learned this, and they spend millions of dollars. And I emphasize millions because it's the truth, to be one of the top 5 people that pop up on a Google search. So if you go on Google and type in, I'm looking for drug treatment for my 42-year-old son, you're going to have the same 5 treatment centers pop up, right? And you could search, I'm looking for alcohol treatment for my 22-year-old son, same 5 are going to pop up. I'm looking for addiction treatment for somebody that is on methadone, same 5 are going to pop up.
You can literally type in Rock Recovery Center, West Palm Beach, Florida, on Military Trail, and those first 5 will pop up.
Right.
You can put specifics.
Yeah, and so treatment centers have gotten very savvy with this. But to any rate, that is, I'm reluctant to say part of the problem, but from a consumer standpoint, it can and is a problem, because in those 5 treatment centers that you call, those first 5, if they have the finances to be on the first 5, they have the finances to operate a call room. And when they operate a call room, there's going to be a handful of people that are all sitting in desks, just fielding phone calls all day and talking to people and telling you exactly what you want to hear when you need to hear it. And oftentimes it comes at the expense of their loved one, because, they're oftentimes not telling you the truth.
Right.
So go ahead, D-Dog.
I mean, I agree with Ben on this one. Frustration is probably the first word that comes to mind, because you hear about it all these time. These kids that come down, not from the next county over, these kids are coming in from different states, just up and completely leaving their hometown, and they get lost in a system down here. And the only thing the parent sees is the kid going in and out, back into the same treatment center, because this is a treatment center that will take them, 7 times, 8 times. They keep relapsing, coming back. There's no consequences. And then just, I don't know, seeing kids get lost in the system down here is really sad. But then to your point on the other side of that, just making sure, as far as the families, doing your research, not just typing in something on the search bar. Google reviews is a huge thing. People leaving reviews, doing investigative work on whatever treatment. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes it's a lot too, because these families will call in, first time, never talked to a treatment center, don't really know what's going on, don't know what to do. And it's a lot of information, And generally I've gotten to the point where I'll just let them ask questions first. and cover anything. And then whatever else after that, then I'll just kind of go, on a spiel to talk to them because it's a lot of information to take in. But I mean, as far as the system, I mean, I've learned it over the 4 years. There's shadiness in the system, and I've heard stories. These call room representatives are savages. We hear it all the time. Yeah, I went to this place. I was told I get my cell phone. I was told I'm going horseback riding. I was told they take us here and stuff like that. And it was all a lie. There's no pool. There's, you know what I mean? There's 4 beds in a room, just whatever the situation looks like.
Yeah.
But it's all a lie. And that is, and then to be a parent in a different state, listening to your kid, hey, I get here and it's nothing like what they said. You know what I mean? Like I'm just a number. That's discouraging to a parent, to a family member, to a loved one,
Yeah, I don't know exactly the full history of this gentleman's treatment process, and I don't want to make it appear as if he went to a bunch of shady treatment centers. In fact, I don't know at all.
Yeah, he might not have.
He could have gone to good ones, and the reality is that he just hasn't gotten clean.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be determined, but reflecting on that phone call, keeping it on the kind of topic of call centers and stuff like that, I think one thing that really attracted her to having the or staying on the phone with me, a couple of things. First and foremost was when she had texted me and said, if you can call me within the next hour, that would be great. And I said, okay, can I call you in 30 minutes? And she said, yes. Well, the reason I wanted to call her in 30 minutes was because I was literally in the middle of mowing my grass and I wanted to finish cutting my grass. And I'll tie this in. I got done mowing my grass and I called her. And one of the first things I said to her was, hey, appreciate you getting on the phone with me. I just finished cutting my grass and I wanted to finish that before I reached out to you. And it prompted this conversation of like, oh, how is it down there in South Florida? I want to, me and my husband are looking at a place down there, and we eventually would like to spend some time down there. So it lowered the anxiety of the conversation. I literally just got off my mower. You know what I mean? It's a Saturday afternoon and I'm calling you to talk about this situation. And I think that went pretty far with her. And the other thing was like throughout the conversation, we discussed our faith a little bit, in terms of we're Christians and stuff like that, and talked about prayer and stuff like that. So I think that helped the conversation, but you don't get that stuff when you're calling into a call center and talking to a representative. You don't. And when any of us, the 3 of us, get on the phone with family members, loved ones, especially Ben and Destiny, I'm not sure, but Ben will literally stay on the phone with people forever, but that's what you get whenever you contact us. Is like, we're going to take the time, we're going to put the energy in and really talk to you about your situation. And you don't get that with a lot of these facilities.
Destiny stays on the phone longer than I do, for the record.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, I think almost 2 hours at one point. And that's because it's like you're talking to a human, because I've been to, call centers. You literally have these papers, this script that you go off of. It's just like a call center where you're selling things. Like it's so automatic. And it's like, people have said the same thing to me where you're talking to another human.
Right. You're not selling freaking cruises.
Well,
connection.
I'm sitting here thinking the analogy, dude. If I'm calling like AT&T or calling the cable company Comcast, dude, I hate Comcast.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are there to collect a paycheck. That's it. They're probably in some other country, right? Half the time. And you literally have that with some treatment centers. they might not be in a, well, actually, I take that back. There are some that the phone calls get answered in other countries.
Yeah.
I do know one. I won't put them on blast.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, thank you for letting me interrupt the episode. I want to share with you something that myself, Ben, and Tambini have put together. It's our family reconnect group. Now we're going to be kicking this off June 3rd. Now, what do you get with this? You get weekly Zoom calls with myself, Ben, Tambini. We're going to have experts in the field. We're going to have licensed clinicians. We're going to have people in recovery. We're going to have family members, loved ones that have gone through the treatment process with their loved ones and have come out the other side in a positive manner. We're going to have monthly newsletters. We're going to have a 12-week curriculum that you get. And also you get 2 bonus guides as well. Now, the Family Reconnect is going to be starting on June 3rd. Now, we just made it live. So you can go to realrecoverytalk.com/FRC. Again, it's realrecoverytalk.com/FRC to sign up. Now, it's a membership based. There's going to be a basic membership that you can buy, and then there's going to be a VIP membership that is also available to you as well. What do you get with the VIP? On the weeks that it's myself, Ben, and Tambini, we're going to log on an hour before everybody else, so you have a more personalized experience with us, and we're going to be doing that bi-weekly. So every 2 weeks throughout the month, myself, Ben, and Tambini, we're going to log on 1 hour before everybody else to give you a more personalized experience. You could talk with us about your experiences, what you're going through, what your struggles are, how we could support you. This is going to be a great community for family members, for loved ones. If you just want overall support, whether it's for yourself or a loved one, the Family Reconnect is something that we definitely want you to get involved in. There's also going to be a Facebook community. This is going to be completely private to the people that are inside of our community, and we can't wait to kick this off. This is something that we've wanted to do for a long time, and we feel like we're in a position to be able to offer this to you. So again, it's at realrecoverytalk.com/FRC. Go there, sign up. June 3rd, we're kicking off, and we're excited to see you there.
But the difference is like the places that I believe in more, they answer the phone, but also like in your case, Tom, or our case, they know the clients. They're handling this situation beginning to end. They're part of the treatment process. It's not like you got this remote call center that in a lot of cases is in a different state, or most of them are at least in a different town or city. Like the treatment center will be, I don't know, West Palm, and their call center will be in Boca. Like there can be, it's not all bad. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to paint a picture like, oh, this is never good. But I always want to be talking to someone that knows I'm not calling the phone company, the cable company. This is literally my loved one's life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's tricky. I mean, it is. And from a consumer standpoint, it's, and treatment centers and call center reps and stuff, they know that this is a very critical time in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a family member, a loved one, or the addict themselves, they know, like, they're vulnerable.
Let me throw this out there, because I don't think I've ever said this on here. If we bring somebody in, the 3 of us, because we're hands-on with the treatment process after bringing them in, if we bring in somebody that's not appropriate, we pay the consequences. You, me, Destiny, we're the ones like trying to figure out how to fix the problem, refer them out, get them to the proper place. Like,
yeah.
When you have a call center or a rep, for instance, that's just there, their job is get them in.
Yeah, deal with it later.
And somebody else at the treatment center deals with, dude, you sent me a guy and you didn't tell me that he was unmedicated and having visual hallucinations.
Yeah.
You didn't, like, they don't completely cover the gamut like you are, getting the backlog story, getting all this. Because say, for instance, this kid agrees to come. If you've left out details and they get here and we're not the right place for them, we're the ones fixing it. And we don't want to put ourselves in that position where if you've got someone that their only goal, get that head in that bed, someone else will take care of it if it ends up being a problem. It's a different, it's not personal.
Well, and then you bring in the aspect of whether or not it's insurance or if it's cash pay. And a lot of times, family members are paying out of pocket for their loved one to go into treatment, which is in most cases thousands of dollars. And so let's just say you're paying $50, $60, $70, $100,000 for your loved one to go to a center for a period of time, only to find out that they're not getting what they need. They've been sold this bill of goods. And then and that's the last thing that we want to deal with, is having a conversation with a family member or a loved one saying, hey, we got to figure out something because your loved one, and then you gotta like initiate wires back to them. You got to do all the stuff that's involved and make the referral. It just causes so many headaches. And we refund money. Some treatment centers don't. They'll say, hey, look, they'll have you sign documents or whatever saying, we're not going to refund you money. But because the family's in such a vulnerable place and they are so desperate to get their loved one where they need to go, they make decisions based off of clouded judgment. And then once kind of the dust settles and really the things start to become more revealed, they could be out thousands of dollars and there's nothing you can do. I don't know of a lot of treatment centers that do that, but they are out there. They definitely are. But I do want to talk about some of the topics that we had discussed prior to. And I think one of them is why family members lose trust in the treatment process is just for the simple fact that their loved one has relapsed multiple times. Mm-hmm. And this isn't something that you can obviously fully place the blame on treatment centers. In fact, you can never fully place the blame on treatment centers. But they do and can play a role in it. When somebody, and this is something that the mom had said, which was interesting. She said, my son has been to so many treatment centers, he could run the groups. And I said, yeah, probably. And I said, look, at any given time, we have in between 22, 25 people on our census at any given time. And probably 20 of them, they could run a group. And I said, to be honest with you, they're only a few years away of college from being able to be a primary therapist. And they would probably be a really good one. In fact, they could probably be a primary therapist right now. They just don't have the credentialing to be able to do it. I said, so I understand that. I said, but there's so much more to the treatment process, and this is where treatment oftentimes screws things up. The clinical component is important. I don't want to say that it's not important. You obviously want to have good therapists that are invested, that love their jobs, that have really a calling to do this. Most treatment centers don't have that. We've had the same therapist for years. They're paid very well. We cover their health insurance, 100% paid in full. In fact, every staff member here, health insurances. We haven't had somebody quit rock. I don't even know the last person to quit. We maybe have only had 2 or 3 people quit ever in 11 years of being open. We take care of our people. All to say the clinical component is very important, but there's so much more to it. So let's riff off that.
So I literally say that to parents all the time too. Like, yes, your kid could probably run these groups, but to your point, that's where treatment centers do fall short, because I see this all the time. Like, oh, they went to group today and this is what happened. And then they send them back to the housing, whatever that looks like, the residential part where they sleep and lay their heads at night. And then it's like they're just like off. But that's when a good center like ourselves will sit back and we'll say, okay, here's what they said in group. Now we're going to keep an eye and see what they're doing at that housing. Because, yeah, I guarantee you he can run that group. But then when he gets back to housing, does he apply any of it? Nope. And that's where the breakdown is. There needs to be a solid bridge between what happens in this clinical building and what happens at the housing. Clinical needs to communicate very heavily with the housing staff and vice versa.
Right.
The frontline staff, just to call it what it is, spends way more time with the clients than the clinical staff. So us in particular at Rock, we meet every Monday. The entire staff, every single person on staff sits in a room, and we all get together because clinical says, this is what I'm seeing. They're like, oh, Johnny's doing so well. His sessions are amazing. He's diving deep into his trauma. And then I got Eric and Keith and Marie over here from housing. They're like, he's a total jackass at housing. So then the therapist gets that feedback and is able to sit him down. Hey, you're doing amazing trauma work, but what is going on with the rest of this?
Yeah.
Because myself, and you hear me say it all the time, we don't want you to get straight A's in treatment. We are here to poke holes in it and see what you're not doing well and what you need to do better. I'm glad that you have an amazing one-on-one session with your therapist and you're addressing your trauma or whatever the case may be. But if your life skills and your communication with other people at the housing is a mess, that's not going to translate to success when you're done.
Right. Well, it's so to dig into that just for a minute, and then Dustin, you can get in. We send out multiple shift reports throughout the day, staff wide. Everybody, staff members, we all have each other's cell phone numbers. We're communicating at all hours of the day. If there's an emergency, everybody knows about it, either through a phone call, text message, email. And again, going back to these just other centers, you don't have a primary therapist that is in direct communication with a tech. You just don't. I mean, it's not that, a primary therapist at some centers, again, this isn't a blanket statement. But these, again, if we go back to the top 5 that are going to pop up on a Google search, if they have millions of dollars to shell in to Google to be at the top every single search, they have enough money to operate a call center. But that also means they're driving a ton of calls, which also means they're getting a ton of admissions. Mm-hmm. And so they have 100, 150, 200 people on their census, which means they have 20 different therapists, which means they have 60 different behavioral health techs. They don't have each other's cell phone numbers. Those therapists, they come in at 8 o'clock in the morning, they leave at 4. That's it. They're done. You can't call them after hours. Maybe there's a therapist on call, but there's not that communication that needs to be there, right? And then ultimately, when somebody ends up at a facility like ours, we only have, 18 staff members across everybody?
Yeah.
And everybody has everybody's cell phone numbers, right? And we're kicking it with the clients just the way as we are with the staff. You know what I mean? Friday or Thursday or whatever day it was last week, 3 clients literally came into Ben, your office, and we were all just sitting there eating lunch together. Not talking about treatment, not talking about addiction, talking about basketball, whatever else. And clients don't get that at other treatment centers. You just don't. Like, you got a client that's got 3 weeks clean and sober sitting in the same office as us, who's been sober many, many, many years, just talking life. And they thrive off of that, right? Maya says it all the time, and this is something that, is well known. The opposite of addiction is connection. And that is something that I think the clients get when they get here, is they feel connected to us in multiple different ways. Go ahead, Destiny.
Wow, y'all just drop a lot of serious bombs and then just pass it quickly. I mean, I agree with everything that's been said. I say it all the time. We have the dream team here. Communication between clinical and operations, and just the understanding. I mean, we're family here, you know. So when something happens at 11 o'clock at night, the tech then calls, you know, Nick or whatever. Like, everybody is very prompt in communicating and handling situations as they arise. But the communication, I think, is the key point. And to your point of other treatments, and I feel like there's different levels, right? Like, where like the techs are down here, right? Like, oh, they drive the clients or whatever. And, you know, and then you've got clinical, which is, you know, probably seen at a little bit higher level as far as pay or whatever, and with the clients, and then so on and so forth. Whereas rock, I feel like we all sit on the same playing field where nobody is higher than, lower than, and we have a very clear understanding that we see the clients generally when they're here at the center, whereas the techs get them. And it's easy to walk in to a clinical center, you know, staff and everything. You put on your best smile and, you know, best outfit and be who you want to be there, you know. But I completely just lost train of thought. I'm gonna be completely honest
I'll
with you.
point something out though too. Like, for instance, I think this is a good example, and it ties into what Tom was talking about, where the clients, to call it what it is, they look up to, I'll just say, the time that we have sober. We have, and time is not important to me. I'm all about quality over time. But just to call it what it is, if I put my mind in the place of a newcomer, when I had 30 days or 2 weeks or whatever the case was, and I'm looking at somebody that has 8 years, I'm like, they've done the impossible, right? So being able to interact and see how they live their life, talking outside of treatment. You were talking about basketball. I think a good example too is, for instance, a couple weeks ago, you know, Destiny helps me train the clients here at the center, but then we have the gym membership where they get to go on the weekends. And she's like, "Oh, I'm meeting so and so and so and so client up at the gym this weekend and working out with them." You know what I mean? Like, and another good example, Stevie Buckets just picked up 16 years and went to an his NA home group. Our therapists were there. Destiny was there. Like,
Techs were there. One of our clients counted. There was 16 between rock staff and clients. There was 16 of us in that meeting.
Yes.
It was cool.
But like, why is it not acceptable to let the client see what we're doing, what our fellowship looks like,
right,
outside of rock? Now, again, this comes back to the way that places are structured, where we know that our staff has really good boundaries. Like, I don't have to worry about any staff member having boundary issues, because again, we've worked together for so long, for so many years. We're all professional. It's not like I hired Joe Schmo to fill a shift that I don't know, and he's there to collect a paycheck. You know, that's the stuff that you want to look for as a parent calling in for your loved one or whatever the case is when you're vetting these places. It's like, how long has the staff been there? How involved are they? You know, what is their centers, for instance, and I know this for a fact, dude, like, they just have to fill shifts. And I'm not saying people have to be in recovery to work in this field, because we have some people that aren't in recovery themselves that work at Rock that are amazing at what they do. But I have a buddy that works for a place, and he's pretty high up, and he's like, dude, every single one of our night staff, none of them are in recovery. They don't know the first thing about recovery, but we just have to fill the shifts.
Yeah.
What are they bringing to the table? That is dead time, where we see the difference is we're a facility that recognizes this is a 24-hour bit.
Right.
Treatment is 24 hours a day. It's not 5 hours, 6 hours at the clinical building, and then the rest of the day off. This
Nights
thing is
and weekends included.
Nights and weekends.
Yeah.
That brings up a good point, and I've been stalling on this for a second because we haven't really addressed the community aspect of it. When that mom in particular was sharing a lot about being able to run the groups and stuff like that, we have to give credit where credit is due, our community. And I shared about this last week when we were doing I think we were giving actually Buckets his 16-year medallion during one of the groups. And it came to me to just share, what was on my heart. And I had talked a lot about to the clients, like, hey, look, yes, we're staff members here. Yes, we've all been here for a very long time. Yes, we've been sober a long time, but we're no different than you guys. And in fact, what allows us to be able to present Steve with this 16-year medallion has a lot to do with you guys, meaning the clients, because we get to come here and watch your growth, watch your transformation, be a part of this beautiful process that takes place, and it fuels us to continue to want to do this. And all of our clients, I can say this confidently right now, we don't have one person that we're like on the fence about.
No,
not at all.
Everybody here is like, this is, they start to see it. It's like what our friend Gam says. You can't taste a strawberry, or you can't crave a strawberry unless you've ever tasted a strawberry. Some of these clients, they've never experienced treatment the way that we present it to people. And we're not totally reinventing the wheel here, just to be clear.
We're pretty close.
We have, I'm saying in terms of we have PHP, we have IOP, we have outpatient, we have sober living, we have groups, we have individual sessions, we have case managers. The same stuff that all treatment centers have. But what we have that other treatment centers don't have, and again, this isn't all treatment centers, but what we have that most treatment centers don't have is we have an investment in our people, in our clients. We are invested in their recovery as much as we should be. And because of that, they are invested in it as well. We take the extra time. I'll be sitting in here editing a podcast. My eyeballs are pasted to the freaking computer monitor, and I'm just praying that a client walks in to want to talk, because it's like, that's the only way I'm going to pry myself away from this computer. And when it happens, it's like, oh, good. I get to talk with somebody for 30 minutes, and they thrive off of that. They see that, and that trickles throughout the community. And so when we do get somebody that comes in that's kind of on the fence, you get to watch that unravel. We have a lady here with us right now. She was dead set. I'm leaving after 30 days. And she kind of said it jokingly. She said, you know what? I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving until, Tom, I get you to smile. And I'm like, well, you're going to be here a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, just being silly. But, and I firmly believe, because of not only the staff, but the community, last week she said, I ain't going anywhere.
This goes back to, I don't mean to bring up what we already talked about, but the call center. So the person that you're referring to, the client you're referring to, I'm the one that fielded that call, right? And
which we don't have a call center, by the way.
We don't have a
you're
call
looking at the call center.
We are the call center.
And when I say looking, YouTube. And if you're listening to this on audio, please go to YouTube, like and subscribe, and give us a thumbs up. Whatever. Go ahead.
But where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'm the one that took that call. And this goes back to the communication between clinical, admissions, operations, et cetera, et cetera. I knew that this girl was like, I'm doing 3 weeks to 30 days and I'm going home. And I know, it doesn't matter what dream team you have clinically or how good your therapists are, you can't do good work in 30 days. It can't be done. However, before she even got here, I took all the details of what she shared, went to our Monday staff meeting where everybody's there, and I said, hey, clinical, I'm going to give you a heads up. This chick thinks she's coming for 30 days. We all know 30 days. If she goes home at 30 days, she'll just be back in detox a few months later. I said, but we know this ahead of time.
Yeah.
Here's the details that you need to know.
I remember this.
Here's her rebuttals. Here's the things we're working against. And it's not because I'm not doing it because like, hey, we want to just get this chick to stay as long as possible. No, I don't want her coming back to treatment again.
Yeah.
I want her to do it right this one time and then go home and be the mother and wife that she's capable of being and not go back to treatment. But like, because all this information, I gathered all this info on the front end, the therapist knew right away to kind of backdoor it and start chipping away. And it's not the type of situation where the therapist sits him down and says, you're not going to be successful if you don't stay longer than 30 days. No, the therapist knows and starts building the value. And the client has their own aha moment. And she came forward and said, I need to stay. I'm starting to see the value in this. I need to see this through. I got to finish this treatment plan. This all makes sense.
Yeah.
Versus it's what, don't count the days, make the days count.
Yeah.
Hoorah.
Hoorah. I don't know, man, that's what makes rock different, because what it comes down to is the time that we take to invest in our clients. And not only that, us being the same staff members for years, like we've become family, and they can see that and they sense that, you know? And I'll tell you, for me, community is a huge key point that I talk about when I go visit somebody or I get on the phone with somebody, you know, is like the people that we have here in our program are here because they want to be, sober. Like they're here not because they're forced or whatever. Like the clients that we have here generally are here because they want to be and they want to do good work. Like our community 9 times out of 10 always speaks for itself. And I make that very clear if somebody has an interest to come in, like, you know, just kind of setting that tone. But I truly think is the time that we take to invest in them. Like I could say they don't look at us like admissions. They don't look at, you know, the techs as behavioral techs. Like we're literally here supporting them, you know, and pushing them. And you don't get that at the care that we provide. I can confidently say you don't get that anywhere else.
Let me say this. This wasn't intended to be like a commercial for rock.
I know.
Let me point this out, though. This has just happened organically. This conversation has gone this way. And I want to say this. It's because the 3 of us sitting here are super passionate about what we do. And why I want to bring this up is the people that you're talking to on the phone about the treatment center that your loved one's going to admit to, are they as passionate about it?
Yeah.
Or are they just hitting the pain funnel? Oh, yeah, your kid's going to die if he doesn't get this. Like, yeah, like we'll say those things too. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not going to lie to someone and be like, yeah, your kid's doing fentanyl. He's going to be just fine. Like, no, we got to deal with reality. But is the passion coming through? That's what that's about. This wasn't meant to be a commercial for rock, but like,
yeah,
we feel very strongly about the way that we do things. I want to bring this up too. It's kind of a sidebar. Related though. I was even having a conversation the other day with an accrediting body. We had a walkthrough by one of the state's accrediting bodies. I won't say what or who.
All right.
And they asked a question. I mean, it's not wrong if I say it. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm not saying anything bad about them. Florida Association of Recovery Residences.
Yeah, FAR.
FARR. Yeah, they accredit all our housing and stuff and make sure we're above board with what we're providing. I just didn't want it to be taken like I was saying something negative. But the representative came out. She's awesome. basically we ended up in a conversation. She was like, why don't you open more beds and charge more insurance companies? And I looked at her and I'm like, that's not what Rock is about. We found what we're good at. We like treating an average of 25 people because they get the best care possible.
Yeah.
Even though the option to treat more people is there and open more beds and grow the place and bill more insurance, that's not the answer. And the reason I bring it up is because that accrediting body, I think, sees so many other centers that don't have that mindset, that are like, oh, let's open another program and another program and another program and let's just grow this thing.
Yeah.
Like, at some point you can't, I've always taken the stance of, I'd rather help a few people in an exceptional way than try to help 1,000 people. The majority of them fail.
Right.
And the ones that stay sober didn't get sober because of our center. They got sober because that person would have got sober anywhere because they wanted it that bad.
Yeah, to give a little bit more context on that, I think you're 100% right. They are used to seeing programs expand, right? And I think with us, we've been the same size and scope for 10 years. Nothing has changed for us. And it's not because we couldn't. It's because we've chosen not to. We could have, there's many ways to grow, right? But we've taken an active stance not to. We never wanted to open up any sort of detox facility. We never wanted to open up a ton more beds, because we're great at what we do. And she's used to seeing centers expand, right? And I think that's probably where that came from her, because we have a total of 42 beds?
We have 42 beds total.
We have 42 beds total, and 30 of those we have set aside for treatment. And then the other 12 are going to be sober living beds for people that transition through the program. And I think what she was saying is, you have these other 12 beds available. Why don't you just make those treatment beds? Well, the answer is very simple, because the recovery doesn't stop once treatment is over. They need to go into sober living. And if we can offer that to some of our clients, we want to be able to do so. And so when we talk to parents, family members, loved ones, I tell them all the time, look, we got resources for your son, your daughter, upwards of a year through treatment, being anywhere from 3 to 5 months, give or take, in sober living. 1 year. This conversation is drastically different 12 months from now. And you and I both know, talking to the person on the phone, you and I both know 12 months goes by really quick. So we can either act on this now, get them into a facility that is true to their word. We're going to put our best efforts forward. And in 12 months from now, this is completely different. Or we can, because damn rest assured, I'm going to be reaching out to you 12 months from now, and we're going to be having the same conversation. And, family members, those conversations don't get, like, we get into the weeds, we talk a lot. We get into everything about their situation, not only from a family perspective, but also from their loved one's perspective, and really kind of cultivate a plan. And look, we're not like, we can't predict the future, but we can sure try. And we're generally pretty close to being right.
Right.
The majority of the time, so, yeah. Anyways, we didn't get through the points that we wanted to, but I think that was good discussion.
Yeah. No, it's, let me throw this out there, because I've been sitting here thinking about this. I'm like, I've got 2 boys, and God willing, I never need to put them in substance abuse treatment. But if I did, I'd want to find a mom and pop place.
Yeah.
Where I know that they're in it for the right reason. It's not driven by some hedge fund out of New York.
Right.
Like, because I see that all the time, man. Like there's some centers around here that change ownership every year or two, and they're generally detox residentials. They're more the medical side, but they just flip them, sell them, flip them, sell it, flip it. Like,
yeah, and you got these people, they're just looking for a place to invest their money.
Yeah. So, but it's, and I'm not saying that all the bad places or big places are bad. Please don't take it like that. No. Just make sure you do your homework. Ask around. Ask about people's experiences. You know what blew my mind? This is random. I was thinking about this the other day because when Farr was out, I talked to her about too. I said, one thing you can look at our Google reviews. We're a 4.9. That is unheard of in the treatment space, because just call it what it is. You get someone high or drunk, they're going to say negative things.
Well, that's the reason we're a 4.9 is because one person or two, but kind of from the same person left us a bad review like 4 years ago. 5.
Well, yeah.
So they got pissed off at Ben about something.
I was going to say it was actually about Ben.
Yeah. But like the review itself even says, I was drinking and
got thrown out.
Yeah. Like there's obviously, even reading the review, there's way more to the story, and I didn't just like throw some dude to the streets.
Yeah.
But where I was going, that kid that we had in here, we were doing an intervention with him and his mom was here, and he's like, yeah, even on Reddit. Remember he jumped on Reddit?
Oh yeah.
And 2 people, I think he said, what is the best treatment centers in South Florida? And 2 people on Reddit jumped in and named us.
I want to follow up with them. Let's figure out who they were after we're done recording.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anyways. But yeah, like you said, Ben, this wasn't intended to be a commercial for rock, but it has been. But it's because we're passionate about what we do. Destiny, any final thoughts?
No. I mean, I love rock. I'm Rock's biggest fan, just to Ben's point, like, do your research, look up reviews, like ask around, like, I mean, really call, like you said, the person that you're talking to, they have passion, I mean, it's an important decision. So do your research before making the decision. And I mean, I'll say it. I think rock is number 1. Not saying there's not good treatment out there, because there 100% is. But I will happily say I think that rock is the absolute best.
Destiny's a perfect example.
Of?
You're 8 years now. 8 years clean and sober.
In June. Don't give me time I don't have yet.
All right. 2 months, you'll have 8 years. Literally was our house manager on house arrest. Well, you were on house arrest as a a resident.
Yeah, I was.
In our sober living. Then we made her house manager, and then just like, we've talked about this before, but like everybody that's here like is so invested, and you're someone that's actually like experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And grown in it. Marie.
Yeah.
Marie was a client with us, and let me say this too. We don't just like have clients and then just decide like, oh, you were a client here, come on. Like, they have to be the right person.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marie sought us out. She was our female house manager for a while. She did relapse. We brought her back as a client. She did phenomenal. Stayed sober, and I think we hired her at 1.5 years sober as a tech.
And she just celebrated 3 years this past Saturday.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. My gosh. Why don't you guys ever say anything? I guess you just did.
No, we did. Well, we found out this morning, but it was you guys' birthday. And we were really focused on embarrassing the crap out of you guys.
No, that's more important.
No, well, she did. She just celebrated 3 years. So when you see her, give her a big hug.
Okay.
Because she was stoked about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Charmaine.
Charmaine.
Yeah.
Charmaine came through our program.
Yeah.
He's got 5 years now?
5 or 6, I think.
Yeah.
Came through our program, was working full-time at Publix, and we were needing to hire another tech, and Charmaine popped into our minds, and he had probably 3 years sober at the time.
That's part of our process, so too. All three examples, Charmaine, Marie, Destiny, they came through, went and got jobs, established themselves elsewhere.
Right.
In the regular world.
Yeah.
And then we brought them back to Rock to work. This was your first treatment job, Marie's first treatment job, and Charmaine's first treatment job.
Yep.
And I make it very loud and clear, which nothing would ever happen. Or, well, when I do get my nursing degree, Rock is the only place I would go. Yeah. And it's not because other places are horrible, but this can never be replicated anywhere else. Like, I got so lucky that this was the first treatment center that I landed, because being in the field for 4 years, obviously you hear things everywhere. And I know that I'm blessed to work here. And then just you guys. No. I just love you so much, Tom. Do you know that?
Yeah.
I love you.
Tom's turning red.
I know.
Dude.
Thomas, I love you.
Love you too.
Okay. Ben, I love you too.
Aww.
But it doesn't make you uncomfortable. Aww. Thomas, on the other hand.
All right, let's wrap this up. Okay, so in this episode, we obviously talked a lot about the treatment process, what the goods, the bads, the uglies. We put together a guide. It's at realrecoverytalk.com/treatment prep. TREATMENT realrecoverytalk.com/treatment prep. You got to breathe like that while I'm doing my read. Sheesh. realrecoverytalk.com/treatment prep. Go there, download it. It's 5 modules. We walk you through the whole process when you're going through looking for treatment. So that is it for this episode of Real Recovery Talk. Thank you for tuning in. In the end, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can always reach us. info@realrecoverytalk.com. Again, that's info@realrecoverytalk.com. And ultimately, we want to help you turn your mess into your message. That is it. We will see y'all later.